Excuse me, I think you're in my seat. That's how it started. 4 hours of sleep, pocket buzzing with missed calls, Austin to Seattle on Cascade Air Flight 729. Me standing in the aisle holding a crumpled boarding pass that said 2A, while a woman in a white blazer scrolled real estate like she was shopping for small countries. She didn't look up at first, did that thing where your eyes keep moving, but your mouth says, there must be a mix-up, like the mix-up is me. I held the pass where she could see it, and when she finally glanced up, I watched the scan happen. Hoodie jeans, sneakers most people wouldn't recognize, and that tight smile that says, I'm already comfortable, maybe you can be flexible. This is first class, she added like the words were a velvet rope. I requested the left window. I'm settled. Settled is a funny word. It sounds like peace, but it can land like a door closing in your face. I've swallowed a lot of doors in my life. You learn to chew on comments like ice loud enough to be a warning, quiet enough to pass as nothing. I'd appreciate it if you checked your boarding pass, I told her, still polite. She gestured at the cabin, at the brushed metal and soft lighting, like the scenery made her right. People were watching without watching. A guy trying to read the in-flight magazine upside down, a college kid holding his phone a little too steady, a woman 2 rows up with a press badge that said, The Ledger. The attendant came, Jenna, carrying that careful smile crews deploy right before something goes sideways. I handed over my pass. She looked at the placard above 2A, and I saw the flicker of acknowledgement, the facts doing what facts do, and then the pivot I know by heart. Sir, you are assigned to 2A, absolutely. We also have an excellent aisle in 3C. I'll make sure you receive priority service for the inconvenience. The inconvenience. The woman in my seat gave a little tilt that meant, see, we're solving it. He can take 3C, she said, like offering me half her dessert. Caroline Whitmore, she added, as if her last name could call the manager on my reality. Cascade Premier specifically booked this seat. Ma'am, I said, show me a boarding pass for 2A and I'll move. Otherwise, please stand. She laughed the way people laugh when they're used to winning on tone alone. Oh, sweetheart, let's be reasonable. When was the last time you flew first class? I felt the laugh rise and I put it back where it belongs. Last Thursday, I said, and the Thursday before that. The upside-down magazine turned right side up. Jenna shifted her weight. If you prefer, I can get the captain, she offered. Please do, I said. Word travels fast in a pressurized tube. Phones came out low like secrets, faces trying to look neutral while they picked a side. The captain arrived, Alvarez, a veteran face that had seen every flavor of panic at 30,000 feet and still preferred weather to human weather. Afternoon, he said, scanning us. Let's be respectful. Sir, you have 2A, yes. Ma'am, you're in 2A. We do have open seats. Perhaps we can all show a little flexibility. Flexibility, that magic word, that always seems to buddy up with fairness while fairness steps out for coffee. Caroline perked up like she'd hired the moment. Thank you, Captain. I have a connection in San Diego, and I need the left window for the view. He can have 3C. We'll all be happy. I felt the little laugh escape the honest one. Captain, just say it. I told him soft, so only the cabin heard, You're asking the black guy to move so the white woman doesn't have to stand up. He flinched. Just a flicker, because the sentence hit the floor and didn't bounce. The reporter 2 rows up raised her badge. Maya Ortiz, Transportation and Civil Rights, she said, voice clear. I'm witnessing a passenger with a valid assignment being asked to relocate for someone who prefers not to be inconvenienced. Captain, do I have that right? Phones multiplied like rabbits. Caroline rolled her eyes to the back row. Oh, please, she said. You people live to make everything a discrimination case. The room went quiet, the way tile goes quiet when glass hits it. My heart didn't spike. It slowed. I've always believed clarity is a kind of mercy. You people, Maya repeated as she typed. I just want to quote you accurately. I meant media people. Social media people. Caroline sputtered, and you could feel the words trying to crawl back into a mouth that had been their home for a long time. Sure? I said words jump when they're trained to jump. That was the moment I decided to stop being polite about math. I don't love pulling rank. Power does ugly things when it isn't supervised, but power also has a job, and mine had been out on lunch break long enough. Captain, I said, I need you to pause this departure. He started to give me the speech about authority, and I pulled my phone. The app isn't pretty. Helix Dynamics built it for function, not flex. Cascade Ops. Owner console at the top, a control labeled Hold Flight beneath it. I angled it so Jenna could see. This is an owner directive, I told her. Flight 729 is returning to the gate until we resolve a civil rights complaint on board. I tapped. The cockpit radio crackled like conscience. Flight 729 tower here. We've received an operations hold issued from Helix Corporate. Please confirm return to Gate 17. Alvarez stared at the radio, then at me, then at the radio again, and the plane began to move. Caroline actually laughed. What did you do, hack their Wi-Fi? I put the phone away. My name is Marcus Reed. I said I'm the CEO of Helix Dynamics. We own 64% of Cascade Air. Yeah, that happened. You know that beat in a movie when the soundtrack cuts and all you hear is the AC? We had that beat in real life. Maya's eyebrows said jackpot without moving. Jenna's mouth formed an apology before the words showed up. The college kid's camera dropped an inch like it needed air. If I had known who you were, Caroline started. I shook my head. That's the problem. You shouldn't need to know who I am to respect a boarding pass. We hit the gate, and the suits materialized. Airport police trying to look neutral, a PR guy who smelled like he slept under his desk, my assistant Lexi walking fast, like she was outrunning a headline. Marcus, she whispered, tablet up. The clip is everywhere. Hashtag trending Cascade stock down Helix up CNN calling 3 carriers want emergency calls about their contracts. All I wanted was to sit in 2A and go quiet, but the world had climbed aboard and made itself at home. So I stood in the doorway and let the cabin hear me. Jenna, Captain Alvarez, we'll talk about this later. For now, seats will be assigned correctly, and this incident will be documented thoroughly. Ms. Whitmore, you'll be escorted off this flight and suspended from Cascade for 1 year, pending review. Her face went white in a way money can't fix. You can't do that. I spend money. I said, I know. Consider spending some on listening. The PR guy tried to hand me a script, and I handed him reality instead. At the gate, I told the cameras what happened. Pass refusal coded language, the nudge to move the insult that said the quiet part out loud, the decision that followed. Then I told them what mattered more. Airlines treat bias like a customer service problem. It's a civil rights problem. Starting today, anywhere Helix runs discrimination complaints will escalate automatically to corporate leadership with tracking IDs passengers can see. Patterns will trigger intervention. If a carrier doesn't want that, they can find another vendor. Lexi slipped me numbers without the drama. Last year at Cascade, she murmured, 612 complaints mentioned bias, 13 reached leadership, 0 policy changes. I repeated them so the room could feel the math. Phones stopped scrolling mid-flick. Maya asked if grounding a flight was the best use of private power. The best use of power, I told her, is to protect people who don't have it. Caroline tried to apologize on the way out, not to me the person, but to me the headline. I don't want your apology because I'm rich or visible. I said I want you to make an inventory of every time you got your way by calling your inconvenience a policy. That's the bill that's come due. The internet did what the internet does, turned my face into a theory. A union rep reminded me about procedures. A congressman tweeted the word overreach twice in one sentence, and then the comments shifted. A nurse wrote about her carry-on getting flagged, while a man's golf bag slid by untouched. A teacher got asked if she could afford a second checked bag, while the person in front of her had 3. A grandmother stood in the aisle with a paid seat and a forced smile while someone explained courtesy like it was her first day being human. We pushed our first software update that afternoon. A button inside every help desk that said, "Escalate civil rights," a dashboard that lit up any time an employee typed, "Be flexible" next to a confirmed assignment, a rule that a senior manager had to touch any bias complaint within 24 hours, and the passenger would see the name, not the team, the name. 2 days later, I flew the same route. Different flight number, same airline, same world that felt a shade different. An elderly couple boarded late, middle seats. And Jenna, with a supervisor shadowing her because life loves irony, made a few taps and moved a young guy with kindness, no status, whispering, no policy lecture, just hospitality doing the job it was built to do. When we landed, a baggage handler in a neon vest nodded in that tiny way men nod when they don't have time to make a speech. "Appreciate you," he said. "My sister flies every week. Maybe this helps her." Power is a hammer. It breaks, it builds, sometimes both at once. People keep asking if I regret grounding the flight. Here's my answer, said the way I say it to myself, when the noise goes quiet. I regret every time I stayed quiet so someone else could stay comfortable. I regret how long I treated a confirmed seat like a privilege I had to prove. I don't regret 1 second of saying no out loud, when no was the only honest thing left. Was it too far? Maybe you think so. Maybe you believe private power shouldn't decide public moments, that a person shouldn't pick up a procedural hammer and smash something just because he owns it. You know what I mean? I hear you. But ask yourself, what would have happened if I didn't have that app, if Maya wasn't on board, if Theo's camera wasn't rolling, if the only voice in Jenna's head was the training that says keep the peace by moving the person with the least leverage? We both know the flight would have taken off on time and the story would have landed nowhere. So tell me for real in the comments. Was I right to ground that plane, or did I cross a line you don't think anyone should cross? Have you seen bias play out in plain sight while everyone pretended not to notice? Where's the line between courtesy and complicity, between policy and people? If this hit a place you recognize, if you've ever been told to be flexible when what you needed was fairness, drop your story hit. Like if you think sunlight changes things, subscribe for more real talk about power and dignity, and share this with the person who controls the seating chart in your world. Justice doesn't happen by accident. It happens when enough of us stop pretending not to notice. Your turn.